there, YouTube. I'm back again today for another game review. Today I'm very excited to check out Port Royal from Steve Jackson Games. It's for 2 to 5 players, take about 20 to 50 minutes to play, and it's for ages 8+. And in Port Royal, you're going to be playing as a pirate captain, and you're going to be trying to get victory points by hiring members to your crew, by trading with various different other ships, or potentially fighting those said ships, and trying to avoid taxes in this simple push-your-luck style card game. I like push-your-luck, I like simple, I like pirates. Is this good, though? Let's open it up, and I'll tell you what I think. And we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Port Royal. So first and foremost, we got our handy-dandy rule book. It's 2 pages, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples. It's very well done. It should have you up and running in no time. And also, huge thumbs up on the rule booklet. So in Port Royal, you are going to be playing as pirates, and you're going to be trying to be the first to get to 12 victory points. If you get to 12 victory points, that will trigger the end of the game. At the end of that current round, whoever has the most points will win the game. You are going to get those victory points by getting oh-so-delicious doubloons, and then spending those doubloons on various different characters, which will give you victory points. And this is the victory point symbol right here. What am I talking about? Let's go over the components. Let's get into the gameplay. So first and foremost, we got this big deck of cards, and this is all you're going to get in this game. This is the entire game right here. And the thing you need to remember is if the cards look like this in front of you or in front of someone else, they count as gold. And if they're like this, then they do not count as gold. So let's go over some of the cards in the game. I'm not going to go too in-depth with them until I actually show you the gameplay, because I think it will be a little bit easier to do the explanation that way. So this is going to be your typical character right here. It's going to cost you 3 to recruit this person. So if you spend the 3 gold, this person will physically go in front of you, and they will be yours. They will give you a victory point at the end of the game, and they will give you whatever this symbol does right here. And there is a variety of different symbols, as you can see. So different symbols will do different things. So let's talk about what some of the symbols do. Some of the most important ones are going to be the swords. Now, you need swords because you are going to have to fight off ships. Potentially, you have to fight off ships. You don't have to fight off ships, and you can still win the game, but it's a very sound strategy a lot of the time to fight off ships, and you need swords in order to do that. Doesn't make much sense now, but it will in a couple minutes, so we're just going to skip past that. Some of them will also have symbols which are kind of useless, like this cross right here, or an anchor. Now, why would you want them if they are useless? Well, the reason why you want those symbols is because you're going to take these people and go on what are called mission trips. And mission trips are a great way to earn you points. Here we go. So this particular mission trip right here, you would need 2 people with the house symbol in front of you. And if you trade in those 2 people, like you physically just get rid of those 2 people, they are no longer a part of your crew, you are going to gain 4 victory points and 2 coins. So essentially you're going to be trading these useless symbols in for victory points and some small coinage. The next card you're going to encounter quite frequently in here are going to be pirate ships. And this is where the not pirate ships, but you're the pirate, are going to be ships from various different countries. And this is where the push your luck aspect comes into play, because once you're playing the game, if you ever have 2 ships in front of you with the same flag, like the French and the French, then you immediately bust and you are done, unless, of course, you can fight off the ship that is facing you, and that's why you're going to need the swords. But I'll get more into that later. You're also going to have a variety of different cards in here that will have some other really cool effects. So, for instance, this one, he's a trader, 2 victory points, but he's also going to give you +1 coin every time you trade with America, because as you can see, up here, you're going to have coins, and I'll show you how those coins work in a minute. Let's go ahead and shuffle it up, deal, and give you a feel for exactly how this game works. So, what you're going to do on your turn, well, first you're going to make sure that everybody has 3 coins in front of them to start the game, and then on your turn, you are going to flip over as many cards as you want to until you bust or until you decide to stop. So right now, I've got a priest right here. He's not very useful to me. I cannot afford him. He costs 4, so I'm going to continue to keep going. I have a sailor. Once again, way too expensive, but man, 3 victory points. That would be a great one to add to my crew. Can't afford it. We have a sailor right here. So this is great. At this point, I would realistically probably stop my turn because I'm in no risk of busting, but there's a really unique aspect to this push your luck game where the more cards that are out on the board, the better for your opponents. It's also better for you, but it's also better for your opponents. So let's just go ahead and play this out. So I'm going to trade in my 3 coins. They're now gone. And I now have this sailor in front of me. So he's going to give me 1 victory point, and he's going to give me a sword. Now, this is generally where most push your luck at games would end. However, not this game. How this game works is all the other players at the table, starting with the the player to my left and going around, now have the opportunity to acquire one of these cards as long as I didn't bust. So let's just say, this guy over here to my left has 7 coins. He's like, oh my gosh, or he has 8 coins. He's like, oh my gosh, I really want to hire this person. If he does that, though, he has to give me a coin because it's technically my turn. So he would give me a coin, and then he would pay the 7 coins to get this person. So I made a little bit of money right there. Nobody else might buy the priest, and so then we would continue onward. So let's say it gets back to my turn. So we're going once again, and I got another priest, not very helpful. So now I have a Dutch ship. So when a ship comes up, you have 2 options realistically. You can continue to go, or you can fight the ship. Now, obviously, I only have 1 sword in front of me, so I could not fight this ship. However, if I had 5 swords in front of me, then I could fight this ship. Now, why would I want to fight the ship, you may ask? Well, because as I mentioned, if I get another Dutch ship, I will bust. There's also a good deal of strategy in this game once you get a lot of swords because, that would be unfortunate. I would bust right there. Actually, no, I would not, because since this one is a 1, I would fight this person off. Ha! Get out of here, Dutch. Now, why would I want to get a lot of ships, you may be asking? Because that's one of the cool aspects of this game. So if you have 0 to 3 different flags in front of you when you stop, when you're like, all right, I'm done for this turn, then you get to draw 1 card from here. However, if you have 4 different ships in there, then you get to draw 2 cards from in here. And if you have all 5 different ships in front of you, then you get to take 3 cards from in here, which is absolutely huge. So let's just say I got super lucky, this is what I have, and I say, all right, I'm going to stop. So since I have 4 different flags, I now get the option to take 2 of these cards as opposed to just 1. Now, let's talk about how trading works. Because I talked a little bit, the characters are pretty self-explanatory, but what are these coins up here on the top of the flags? How this works is, what you can do instead of fighting them, if you stop, is you can trade them. So I'm going to trade with the Dutch. They're in the port. They're nice people. So how this works is, I just discard this card, and now I get 3 coins. And since I had 4 ships there, I'm going to trade with the Americans too, because heck yeah, that's going to give me another 3 coins. So I just picked up 6 coins right there, and plus everyone else is still going to have the option to pay me a coin if they would like to do one of these things. So let's just say if somebody really wants a little bit more cash, so they give me a coin, and then they get 2 coins for trading with the Spanish. Now, one thing I want to mention is when you pay someone to take a card when it's their turn, you were paying that from your pile of money, not from the bank like I just did there. But anywho, you're going to continue to do this until someone gets to 12 points, at which point that will trigger the end of the game, and whoever has the most points will win the end of the game at the end of the round. One last card I did forget to mention that I just recalled is the fact that there are tax cards in here. Think Settlers, Catan, and the Robber, so to speak, rolling a 7. So if you have 12 or more coins, you're going to have to discard half of your money. Also, whoever has, in this particular instance, the lowest victory points will get 1 coin. And it might say whoever has the most swords will get 1 coin. So these taxes are spread out through the game, so you always have to be wary about how much money you have in front of you. But that, in a nutshell, is how you're going to play Port Royale. Alright then, Port Royal from Steve Jackson Games. What are my final thoughts? Let's go with the pros, let's go with the cons. First on the con side, game's not going to be for everybody for a variety of different reasons. 2 to 5 players, great player count, but I liked it best at 3, 4, and 5 players. It's not bad at 2, just at 2 players you'll have turns that are really lame, where someone will flip over 1 card and they'll be like, yeah, I'm good with that. I don't want to give you anything, so I'm just going to take this. And you'll have that too in like 3, 4, and 5 player games, but they're a lot more frequent in 2 player games I found when I played it. So I liked it best at 3, 4, and 5, but double-edged sword here at 3, 4, and 5, especially 4 and 5, the game stretches out just a bit longer than you might want it to. The reason why is obviously the higher player count, but it's a very random game. So, it's very luck-driven. If you just happen to flip over 2 Spanish cards and you can't stop either of them with your swords, you know what? You're bust. And then you might not get a turn for 4 or 5 minutes if, you're playing at the higher player counts. Now, take that with a grain of salt because you're always actively involved in that hire and trade phase, which I do like, but still. Something I did want to mention. Also, it's very repetitive. You're going to be doing the same thing over and over and over and over again until somebody wins the game. Another comment I have with the game is that I worry slightly that the sword strategy might be slightly overpowered. If you get 4 or 5 swords and you just focus completely on getting swords and you can get those swords pretty early on, then you are just going to have really lengthy turns because you're going to be fighting everything, but you're going to have the potential to start grabbing 2 or 3 cards, which is super stinking powerful, especially if other people cannot get cards like, I think it's the Admiral or the General that lets you take 2 cards as well. But, you know, I have seen the sword strategy beaten by other people, but I do feel like it might be slightly overpowered. But moving on to the pros, none of this stuff really bugged me, because in the end, I really stinking enjoy Port Royal. It is a really cool push your luck game, and I think it might be one of my new favorite go-to push your luck style games. Because I used to have like Dead Man's Draw, and I still like Dead Man's Draw, but I feel like this is just a step up on Dead Man's Draw, because I really like how the player interaction in this game works, and I really like the fact that you're always actively involved in this game via that hire and trade phase, and you're kind of like egging them on, like, come on, keep going. And you might be like, no, stop. I really want, 2 of those cards down there, so I'm guaranteed to get one of those cards, and I like that aspect of the game. I also love the push your luck aspect of the game when it comes into play, when you're like, oh man, if I get just one more ship down there, then I can take 2 cards, and that'll allow me to do this, and then I can afford this really good card right here. And I like that aspect. I like the dual-use cards. I like the fact that this is somewhat of a minimalist game. It's just a deck of cards. On the back, you got the doubloons. On the front, you got all the symbology. But I like how all of that works. It's a very clean system. It's easy to learn. It's easy to teach. I played this in my classroom with kids as young as 7 years old, I believe. One of them was a 7-year-old. They liked it an awful lot. I played it with my game night. They enjoyed it as well. So in the end, Port Royal is an easy add to my collection. And if you like push your luck style games, if you're in the market for a family game or a push your luck game or a game night filler game or a game you can play with younger kids, obviously I'd say probably 7 years old is about the lowest that I would probably want to go, unless you got a really smart 6-year-old. But in the end, really enjoyed Port Royal. It's got some really cool cards, some really cool special abilities. I'm a fan of this one. Check this one out. It looks like it might be your cup of tea. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know. Port. Have you ever been to a port? Yeah, I went to one on a cruise. It was boring. I just walked up these really long stairs, then I stood in line, and then I got on a cruise. So hopefully your story is better than mine. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever been on a port. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube. Oh, no, I did one in the Caribbean, too. That one was actually kind of cool. Yeah. But yeah, let me know. As always, thanks for your time, YouTube.